Greetings everyone and welcome back. It's Aaron here and today I am showing you guys just a kind of a clumsy time lapse of all of the crafting I completed over the weekend. It wasn't a whole lot, I got a lot of experimenting done. One of the first things I did here, it was just late one night, we were just sort of chilling out watching some TV, so I flipped on my camera and I wanted to make sort of a stone archway. Start real basic, practice carving some shapes into the foam. And so here you can see me sort of measuring with old Rothgar, the barbarian here for scale. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I looked at a few pictures on the internet of actual, stone archways, some other crafts that some people in the community had done. But for the most part, I wanted to just sort of experiment, and that's what this video is. It's me clumsily trying to find out just how to put things together. I'm trying some hot glue to affix the foam, and it was a frustrating experience to say the least. I did cut out some additional video of me constructing or attempting to construct a portcullis, so I'm still sort of working on the idea of what a portcullis would look like in my world, or in Ethros or Asgoth, one of the places where I usually run my games. Sort of a homebrew world, and I'm kind of taking that approach to everything. It started with my tiles. I wanted to make something how I imagined it looking in the world I run. And so that's where we sort of started. I carried over some of the styles and ideas from the stone that I did on the tiles into the archway, so that they would kind of look similar. I'm still not sure where I'm going to take it or what I'm going to do with it, but this was certainly a learning experience. And all I did was glue 3 pieces of foam together and then sort of carve the stones in after that. And you can start to see them taking shape there. And I didn't want it to look too perfect, so of course I did some of that micro distressing and damage that you kind of see me do on everything. Everything's dirty and old and broken. And so here, just adding a few more of those cracks. And sorry again for the camera work. This was just kind of, I wanted you guys to see what I was doing and not so much put together a finished video of a craft. There's a lot of that, but this is more like a blog of what worked for me and what didn't work. And so here is day 2. I called it a glimpse of hope because this was the day I started to get a little more comfortable, and I knew I wanted to start working on some modular wall segments. I call them segments because they're not intended to be put together. They're intended to sort of stand on their own and give the idea that a wall is present without cluttering your encounter, without obstructing any sort of vision. And so here I was, just sort of going with a 2-inch wall, and my idea was to have this sit next to the tile. So you can kind of see here I'm taking the finished tiles and measuring how thick they are so that these segments can push right up against them and interlock a little bit. And I grabbed some popsicle sticks. I thought it would be cool if we could almost pinch the tile with the popsicle sticks, not very aggressively, but sort of interlock them where they don't stay in place permanently, but it would keep a lot of movement to a minimum. And so instead of doing wood texture on these, I opted for the old popsicle sticks, and just sort of as a facade of a pillar or some sort of mine thing. And we're just attaching 3 of those to each wall segment. And I'm excited to kind of show how these will look finished. I want to build these pieces to use in an encounter, and that's going to be my system, is build the pieces that I need That way I can show you guys the encounter I plan on running with them. And that'll benefit hopefully myself and anyone watching, that we're not just crafting for the sake of crafting, we're crafting for a purpose. And so I knew one of these I wanted to be just a little bit different, so I freehanded a lot of this. I wanted the blocks to be kind of crooked and wonky and maybe falling out, and then I thought it would be neat to put a little sort of drainage grate on one of the tiles, and so I just cut up some matchsticks and experimented with hot glue first. You can kind of see my pink hot glue gun there. Thanks to my wife for letting me borrow that. But it didn't really work, so I tore it out, and I opted for some PVA glue. I'm just using Eileen's tacky glue from Hobby Lobby, and it gave me more time to work with the pieces and sort of adjust and move them around how I would like to. And then I grabbed a little bit of construction sand there and dropped it kind of at the bottom of the grate to give it sort of a rubble look. And then finalizing wall, scatter, and doors. I didn't film myself working on a lot of my scatter because it, to be honest with you, wasn't really constructed. I have some Dwarven Forge terrain. I had some Dungeon Saga terrain, like barrels and things like that. And I just mounted them on bases, threw a little construction sand on them, and I plan on repainting them, so you'll see them at the end. And here, I'm just adding that stone texture to the walls. I'm pushing into the stones to make them at different elevations and thicknesses. And I also believe I also grabbed the ye old cereal box here to make some just really thin sort of cardstock bases that I can run underneath the tiles, because these will not be freestanding walls or scattered. They'll have to be paired with a floor piece, and to reduce any sort of tipping or shit flying everywhere, I figured I'd mount them on bases. Here I'm just taking a little watered down PVA glue and making sure those rocks and stones are locked in place before I paint them. And then grabbing some hot glue here, making sure they match up nice. You can kind of see me testing the walls next to them, and just getting them all based up. That way we can start painting in the next video. And so here is all the stuff I worked on, the stone archway, and here was a chest that I just glued some rocks to and put them on a base. This makes it easier for me to move things around. And I actually cut my Dwarven Forge doors out to base them myself because I really wasn't a fan of them. And so those are the things I got finished this week, guys. We're next going to move on to painting. I'm going to start basing these and showing you guys how we're going to finish them up.